guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Modesty33 here, aka Crystal with a C. Back at you with another video. This is for my overall season 2 review of Stranger Things. If you have completely bypassed my past few videos, I have been reacting to season 2 of Stranger Things, episodes 1 through 9. Stranger Things is a Netflix series. It was released on Friday, October 27th. A lot of people went through and binged it all at once, but I got things to do, so I did as much as I could because I wanted to record reactions. So this is the first series that I actually have reacted to on my channel. So we had a little bumps and bruises along the way, but I really appreciate you guys for commenting and liking my videos and sticking in there with me while I try to navigate the world of reactions. So I have my notes here. I just want to go through and kind of tell you what some of my thoughts are about the season, as well as some of the standouts for me with the characters, with the storyline, and also, of course, my faith life moment, because we've got to have that, and my overall review. So let's get started, guys. So just want to briefly read my quick synopsis of season 2. And basically, if you haven't already watched my season 1 review of Stranger Things, I recommend you watch that. That one is spoiler free. This one will have some spoilers in here because, like, why are you watching season 2 review if you haven't watched season 2? You gotta watch season 2 and you gotta watch season 1, you guys. You gotta get with it. It's an awesome series. You gotta get with it. So this is my synopsis, and again, I'm gonna put it in the video title, but this is gonna have some spoilers in it about some of the episodes, so just beware. But my synopsis is, this story takes place almost a year after the events of season 1 of Stranger Things. So this takes place around Halloween of 1984. From season 1, it took place November 6, 1983. That's when Will Byers disappeared. So, in this season, you really see the repercussions of everything that went down in season 1 in Hawkins, in the town, with the people, and just kind of how everyone's coping almost a year later. So that's just kind of my brief synopsis of the season 2. So you see everything, basically that transpires is a repercussion of everything, again, that happened in season 1 and some of the decisions and mistakes that were made as a result. So I want to first talk about the new characters that were introduced in this season, and I'm just going to briefly talk about some of them. I'm going to mention like all of them that I remember, but all of them, again, didn't have like a major part in the storyline, but just want to kind of mention them. So the first one is Bob. Bob, played by Sean Astin, who, again, you guys, I love Sean Astin from the 80s movie The Goonies. I love The Goonies. It was one of my favorite movies back in the 80s. And it's awesome to see him back in another role that kind of, again, again, set in the 80s and has that 80s feel. But of course, I love Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings. He was Samwise Gamgee, one of my favorite characters. So, Bob, though, in this series of Stranger Things, he's the boyfriend of Joyce Byers. Also, Bob works at Radio Shack. Seems like he's a very smart, successful guy. Went to high school with Joyce, and you could tell he was kind of picked on and bullied when he was a kid. And, he kind of relates to Will in that way. So he was just a really cool guy. And I say was, R.I.P. Bob. Bob, kicked the bucket. He died. He gone. So, Bob is gone. And I got theories, listen, if your name and your nickname starts with B and you in Stranger Things and you a decent person, listen, you gonna die. I mean, this is what I've seen thus far, and I'm gonna reference Benny, episode 1, season 1, and Barb, episode 3, season 1. Benny and Barb, they're evidence of this. They kicked the bucket, and now we got Bob, in season 2. So, listen, season 3, don't call nobody babe, boo. Listen, if that's their nickname, they gonna die, and they're a good person. Now, let's get into the other character who has a nickname with a B, and that's Billy. Now, Billy might be safe because, he had no real redeeming qualities in season 2 of Stranger Things. But if they do a turnaround with Billy, if Billy becomes, gets help, becomes a wonderful human being in season 3, Billy gonna die. That's the theory. Billy is gonna die if he becomes, a good, decent person in season 3. He gonna die. But Billy, let's talk about Billy. Billy is the stepbrother of the character Maxine, or Max. There wasn't a whole lot about Billy. Just really as far as Billy and how he related to his stepsister Maxine, or Max. Very abusive verbally, and it seemed like physically he was abusive to her as well. And kind of a bully to the character Steve Harrington as well. So that's all I really have to say about Billy. He was another new character. Let's talk about Max. Max, she joins the group of guys. And the group of guys is again Mike, Lucas, Dustin, and Will. So she kind of, gets involved in that group because she's so good at the arcade. She actually beat Dustin's score on a few of the games. So, and she skateboards, so that makes her really cool. So, the guys kind of Dustin and Lucas want to bring her into the group. Mike is hesitant. You can see why Mike is hesitant because, he doesn't want, Max to, in a sense, replace Elle in the group. So you can see why Mike is hesitant. But for me, Mike, his actions really reminded me and were reminiscent of Lucas in season 1, where Lucas was so resistant toward Elle for no reason, it seemed like. And now you see Mike is doing the reverse, where they're trying to bring Maxine into the group. And Mike is totally resistant, opposed to it. No, we don't want her in the group. We don't need her and all this other stuff. So, and really Max isn't so to speak accepted in the group until really the last episode, to be honest. And even then you see where Mike is still really not feeling her, to be honest. Hopefully that changes in season 3, where everyone is accepting of Max, because even when Elle came back into the storyline, she gave Max the cold shoulder. So, it's just I felt really bad for Max in this season, because it's you have a few people who are wanting to bring you in, but then you feel the resistance from, Mike, who's semi kind of the leader of this group. So he's kind of, and he again has that voice in the group. So it's it's a lot of controversy essentially, and she's kind of caught in the middle, which is unfortunate. But again, hopefully season 3 things will be better for Max. So the other characters are, you have the reporter Murray Bowman. I'm not going to talk about him that much, but he's pretty funny. He's comedic relief, when he's in the storyline. You have the guy Sam, who's the main scientist, I guess, at the lab. He turned out, to be a cool person toward the end. You weren't really certain about him toward the beginning, but he was cool. You also have Dustin's mom. It was cool this season where you saw the kids Dustin and Lucas. You saw their parents. They weren't orphans running around here, doing random stuff. Because in season 1, you really only saw Mike's parents, and then you saw, of course, Will's mom and brother. So, but you got to see Dustin's mom, and you also got to see Lucas's parents and his little sister Erica, which she was so cute. So, and then you also saw Callie, who was number 8. Because, 11, again, has the nickname L for 11. And you were introduced to Callie, who's another one of these kids who was experimented on, and she is number 8. So that opened up a whole new door of possibilities as far as, okay, well, are there only 11 experiments? Was 11 the last one? Are there others going on after 11? Where, what happened to the ones before besides Callie? So we'll probably explore more of that in season 3, but that was really cool. And now I'm going to talk about the standouts of the season, as far as, the standout performances, the standout actors, actresses, what have you. So first of all, I'm going to say Will Byers. Honey, let me tell you about Will Byers in this series. Will killed it. He had no screen time in season 1. You saw him episode 1, and then you saw him, periodically you heard him singing a song in one episode 3 or 4 of season 1, and then you see him toward the end. But he got no screen time in season 1. Listen, that kid killed it this season. The emotion, everything. Will Byers killed it this season. He is my number one standout for season 2. So Noah Schnapp, I think, is the actor who plays him. Man, he's good. He is really, really good. So I look forward to seeing more of him in season 3. But listen, y'all don't be messing with Will no more. Like, Will has had a horrible 2 years of life. Like, let Will go. Let Will enjoy his life and be somewhat of a normal kid in season 3. Like, leave Will alone. So my second standout for season 2 is Steve Harrington. Y'all know your girl loves Steve Harrington. I love Steve Harrington. I loved him since I saw the bat flip in episode 8, season 1. When I saw Steve flip the bat and hit the Demogorgon, I was like, okay, Steve, you better come through, sir. So I've loved Steve since then. And you can see that Steve, you know, if people try to parallel, I guess, Steve and Billy, but like there were like essentially like no redeeming qualities about Billy in season 2. Like you understood why, you know, when you saw toward the end, like why he was acting the way he was or what was, you know, driving his kind of abusive behavior. But still, even in the end, there still were like no qualities about him where he was trying to do better or wanting to do better, it seemed like. Maybe again they'll explore that in season 3, but like with Steve, you saw that really it was kind of like that pack mentality where he was in this group of people and they were all kind of jerks, so that's kind of how he was to be popular. But you saw that he was like, you know, he was very caring underneath all of that. So I love Steve. Steve, like his relationship with Dustin, that was the standout because that was like, man, how do you pair these two people together? But it worked so well. Like Steve and Dustin, I hope to see more of that in season 3. Like they were so good together. It was so great. And then Steve being like a protector for the kids, like that was so cool. And he was like, man, you know, I suck as a boyfriend, but I make a darn good babysitter. He did. He was such a great babysitter. Oh my gosh, Steve, and especially like the episode 9, like when Max was driving the car and Steve was in the back seat and they were screaming. He's like, "Oh my God, stop the car!" Like that was like so like adventures and babysitting to me. It was so funny. But like Steve Harrington was my breakout character of this season. I told y'all Steve Harrington was gonna come through, and he came through all the way. I would love to get a shirt, a Stranger Things shirt, and it's got Steve Harrington hat with the bat with the nails, and I want a shirt that says "Come through, Steve." Come through, Steve. Listen, I love Steve Harrington. Hopper, the next standout character. Like, I just saw so much growth and development in Hopper in this season. It was just so great. The scenes that he had with Eleven were just so awesome. You know, him trying to be a protector and a teacher and like, you know, a surrogate father to her essentially. You know, and how, you know, he was making mistakes in that process, but you know, his heart and intention were good, you know. So everyone who's a parent or trying to be a parent, you make mistakes, you know, along the way, but you know, your heart and intention, you know, is in the right place where you're trying to protect this child, you're trying to do what's best, but you don't even know what's best for yourself sometimes. So I could really feel that with Hopper, and you know, definitely he was one of the standout characters in the season to me. A lot of growth and development on his part. So I loved it. I look forward to seeing him and his relationship with Elle grow even more in season 3 as well. Joyce was another standout, of course. Joyce just was awesome this season, and she's the one character in the beginning of the series where you could just see how she actually made progressive steps to me to move forward. Like, she's in a relationship, you know, she's got her little job, you know, and she's still protective, you know, due to the events of last season, but she's, you know, trying to make efforts to move forward with her life. So, you know, Joyce was really, for me, a standout character in this season as well. Next section, let's talk about it. And when I say let's talk about episode 7, because a lot of people were talking about episode 7, which is called The Lost Sister. A lot of controversy behind it. Felt like it was a horrible episode, the worst episode of the series. And you'll see my reaction of episode 7, you know, my pure unadulterated reaction is up there on YouTube. That video is already uploaded. You can watch that. You know, and thinking about the episode in retrospect, you know, I understood what they were trying to accomplish. and the elements that were in the episode that really needed to be in Elle before she could have this final face off with, you know, the shadow monster or the mind flayer or whatever you want to call the monster. So there were elements that needed to be present before she could have that final like showdown. So I guess like the episode felt like, you know, coming from episode 6 and like, which is one of my favorite episodes of the series, like of the season, like, well, the series in general. Episode 6 killed it. Like for me, The Spy was so awesome. Like that's a 2-part reaction on my channel, so you'll see that. But like, man, there were so many shockers in episode 6, and then you go from episode 6 in the cliffhanger to episode 7, which completely deviates from the storyline, and it goes and follows Elle going to Chicago, trying to meet up with her, you know, sister Callie, and then just kind of that whole story of, you know, them killing people who hurt Callie and Elle when they were in the lab. But I guess the elements of the episode that I liked, let me talk about that first of all. I like the fact that Callie did help Elle kind of hone in on her abilities and like help her to control it more, because she needed that to face the mind flayer in episode 9 and close the gate. Because if she had not had like that instruction or that help, then she wouldn't have been powerful enough to like close the gate, because Hopper clearly wasn't helping her do it. So like she needed someone who had an understanding of her and of like being an outcast and her abilities to kind of help her hone in on her powers. So that was an element that I felt like was really cool. That scene with the train, like moving the train car, like that was really cool. I really liked that scene. And then like toward the end, I really liked the episode as far as like Callie, you know, making all the officers think that, you know, that they weren't in that room. Like that shot was really cool. When she had like the little tower coming from the ground, like that was really cool. So like you could tell like Callie's abilities are really like on point. Like she's had time to really learn how to control them. So that was really cool. And like probably my favorite part of the episode was at the end, and it was the episode, or it was a portion with Callie and Elle, where Callie's talking to Elle, you know, trying to get her to get in the van, like, you know, come with me, you know, your friends can't help you. And Elle has flashbacks to like, you know, different things that she did, you know, with different things that happened in season 1, where she helped Mike and helped Dustin, and, you know, just like her interactions with, you know, the kids in season 1. And so like, you know, when Callie tells her that, like, oh, you know, well, you know, come with me, your friends can help you. And then she recalls those things in her mind, and she says to Callie, you know, no, but I can help them. Man, like that was so like good and profound to me. And that leads into my faith life moment. Y'all, like I felt like that was so necessary for Elle, because that was a decision, like one of the first decisions she made for herself about what kind of person she wanted to be. Whereas you feel like, in a sense, Callie is manipulating her and making her, you know, wants her to lash out in anger like Callie has against these people who hurt them. And, you know, basically it's kind of putting Elle in like, you know, a victim mentality. Like, okay, you know, you're the victim and you need to lash out at these people so you can regain your power and your strength. But Elle makes a decision for herself that like, no, I'm not going to do that. That's not the type of person I want to be. So, you know, she makes a decision that like, okay, in order, you know, for me to not be the victim and to regain my power back, I'm going to go back and help my friends who I know who are in a, you know, a bad situation right now. So, you know, and I'm going to reference a couple scriptures below, but, you know, I was reading in Romans 12:17-21, where it talks about not conquering evil with evil, but conquering evil with good. And that's essentially, you know, the type of person Elle decided she wanted to be, that she wanted to conquer evil, the evil that happened in her life and in Callie's life, with good. She wanted to go back and she wanted to save her friends and help them to not be destroyed by like all these things that were initiated by Brenner and all these other people in the lab. So, you know, that's one scripture. And then also Proverbs 17:17, where it talks about a friend loves at all times, but a brother is born for adversity. You know, like Elle left to try to find out, about, her mom and about Callie. But she decided ultimately that, these people who are her friends were like her family. Like, so the adversity and the trials and the trouble that they were going through in the lab and, with the demi-dogs and Demogorgon and Mind Flayer, all that jazz that was going on, she's like, no, I got to go back and help them. So it's like essentially like, she really solidified her place in the group, really, to me. Even though she was separate from the group this whole time and this whole season, like, that's where she felt like she belonged. Like, these people are more than just my friends. Like, they're my home. They're my family. So, I just want to encourage somebody in that. Like, a lot of times, and I think it was so profound to me, because I feel like sometimes, you feel like when bad things happen to you or bad circumstances, that, a lot of times you become a victim of your circumstances or, events that happen in your life. And no one's denying that bad things happen, and I'm acknowledging that, bad things have happened to everyone. But you got to make a decision in your life. Like, what do you want to do with that? Do you want to continue to be a victim? Do you want to lash out at people? Or do you want to help people who can potentially be destroyed by the same thing that you actually survived? So that's my faith life moment. Again, and I just encourage you, I'm going to put those scriptures below. And again, that's Romans 12:17-21 and Proverbs 17:17. So now we're going to go into my overall review because I want to wrap up this video. I love this season. I thought it was like better than season 1 in my mind. I love season 1, but they like upped the stakes even more in season 2. Like, overall, I love the season. Like, every episode seems like it had a cliffhanger. Like, there was like a oh my gosh moment. Like it was so awesome. Overall, as far as the season is concerned. And let me see if I wrote anything else down here. I know that, again, like, people felt like Elle should have been more a part of the storyline, but y'all, like, episode 6, 8, and 9 were my favorites. And episode 8, like the end, where her and Mike reunite, I feel like everything up to that point was worth it. Like, episode 7, episode 1 through 6, everything was worth it for that moment in episode 8 at the end when she walks through the door and Mike sees her. Like, that was so emotional. Like, gave me the feels. Like, and I know I watched other people's reactions and they were like crying. Like, that was like, I was like, it was worth it for that one moment for them to be reunited. Like, all the stuff that they had to go through separately and then to come back together. Like, it made that moment so much more worth it. Like, for them being apart almost a year at that point. So, like, I love that. I loved the callback in episode 9 to the snowball dance. I was like, oh my gosh, like, Elle gets to go to the dance with Mike. I was so excited. I was so excited about that. Like, it was just so awesome. Like, this season was so awesome to me. Let me see. Do I have anything else here? That's pretty much it. Like, there was so much more development of the characters in this season, so I really enjoyed that. And I really look forward to season 3. So again, if you have not watched season 2, season 1, I definitely encourage you to watch it, but I give it 2 thumbs up, 2, big toes up. Like, listen, it was an awesome season. Like, had me on the edge of my seat, had me sweating, had me, my heart palpitating. It was an awesome season. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. And I will see you guys in my upcoming reactions as well as upcoming sit-down videos because I still am going to be doing those. So, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. I forgot to mention, if you have not already, because I've gotten a lot of new subscribers through my reactions, and I really, really love you guys. I appreciate you for sticking in through the trials and tribulations of reaction videos on Modesty 33 channel. But if you haven't already and you like my videos, please make sure you give them a thumbs up. That really helps my channel, as well as subscribing to the channel. Most importantly, hit the red button as well as the bell next to it so you're notified when I upload future videos, whether they're sit downs or reaction videos, what have you. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified when I upload those videos. And also, guys, make sure you share my video with other people who like reviews, reactions, what have you. And comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of season 2 of Stranger Things. Did you like it more than season 1? What did you think of episode 7? Did you hate it? Did you like some elements of it? Were you kind of in the middle like me? Let me know. Comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of this season. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Just had to put that little tidbit in there for you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.